All right, hey, and welcome to today's show. My name is Mason McNair. I'm your host. I am owner operator of, as you can see above me, McNair Realty Group. This podcast is going to be called From Dirt to Doorknobs, right? So my goal is to bring everybody in, bring professionals in from not only the construction side of the house, but real estate, lending, insurance, and anything before and after that, right? So my goal is to get you guys as much information as I possibly can. So today we're actually going to be talking about the thing that every homeowner has that they don't know is that important. I mean, it's right above their head and it's their roof. So here with me, I've got Kyle Perry. He's a longtime buddy of mine, very good dude. And we're going to kind of rack his brain and figure out exactly what it is about roofing that is so important and why maintenance is important and stuff like that. So Kyle, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Well, thank you for having me, Mr. Mason. We go way back, like seats in the Cadillac.
Yeah, we Cadillac seats.
Yeah, I got that from Mason. Brief intro about myself, Kyle Perry, from Gainesville, Georgia. I grew up about a mile down the street from the hospital, Northeast Georgia Medical Center, in New Holland. I'm the oldest of 5 kids, so my younger siblings keep me young. The youngest is 11. I'm 31, so that keeps me busy as an older brother. Graduated from Chestatee High School, played some linebacker there, went on to University of North Georgia, go Nighthawks. I didn't graduate, dropped out, got into sales, never looked back. I love that's all part of the story, so I'm happy to get into that later on.
Yeah, man, everybody's got a story. I was the same way. I was never in the sales business, and then next thing you know, I kind of took a dabble in it, and I don't know that I'll ever get out of it just because there's no ceiling. You can make as much or as little money as you want to. It all depends on how much work ethic you've got, your drive, how much time you want to put into it. The old saying of you reap what you sow is very, very true in the sales world. So, me and Kyle, we played Pee Wee football together. Won the Mountain, what is it? The Mountain Conference Championship?
Mountain League, baby.
Yeah. Coach Bell, Quan Clark, shout out to both of you guys. So I hope everybody's doing well. Hadn't got to see you much. I don't know if have you seen Quan recently?
I've seen Quan within the last year or so, and I saw Coach Bell within the last year or so as well. So they've got a business with their candy apple, Baby Bell apples.
Yeah.
Hopefully I didn't butcher that, but shout out to Coach Bell. I love you, Coach.
My mom and dad actually saw him at the Kroger off Thompson Bridge not too long ago. So pretty crazy. All right, yeah. So like I said, today we're talking about roofs, why they're important, what the maintenance is, how the insurance stuff works. Just gonna kind of get down and dirty on stuff like that. So obviously you already covered kind of where you're from. What did you do before you were a roofer?
Before I was a roofer, I switched jobs a lot, man. My parents gave me a hard time. They're like, man, you change up jobs all the time. I did a lot of seasonal work, so retail to waiting tables, a little bit of bartending, and then eventually that led me into sales. I was waiting tables at the good old Texas Roadhouse, and I saw a guy. He looked pretty sharp dressed. I said, hey, man, you look like you're in sales to be dressed like that. He said, I'm the general manager over here at the tile shop in Beaufort. Yep. So one thing led to another. He hired me on the spot. I went to and interviewed on my lunch break, and from that day on, it was, if you need tile, call Kyle.
You got a slogan for everything.
You got to. It makes it fun. You got to have fun with life, man.
What's the roofing slogan?
Well, if you want the roofer who goes the extra mile, just call
Kyle. Yeah,
that's it.
I mean, I like that. I like that a lot. All right. So how long have you been in the roofing business?
3.5 years. That first 6 months was felt like 3 years.
Force-fed by fire hydrant, right?
Right. I was knocking on doors. I was trying to survive. And I was doing pretty well. My car still got repoed. And so after that was kind of the turning point for me. I was like, I'm not going back. I've got to stick this through. Fast forward 3.5 years later, so we are still rocking and rolling, and one roof at a time, baby.
So all it takes is one repo, and that's like the light bulb moment, yeah?
Yeah, it was just kind of hits your ego. As a guy, as a dude, you're like, you got a girlfriend, You can't
Hey,
really, you
baby,
know.
I can't take you to dinner tonight. I ain't got a car. We're gonna ride the
Exactly.
bicycle, I guess.
Exactly. So sometimes you gotta build with them, but never turn back. And since then, I've progressed every single year, I've set new limits, and so I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Yeah, I mean, you're a very accomplished. You've been very, very successful. May not mean a lot coming from me, but I'm super proud of you. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're doing well. I have a saying that I want everybody to eat.
Mm.
Some people just don't need to eat at my table.
Mm.
You're absolutely at my table. So
Well, you got a big table, man. You got 4 kids. You're living the life. I only hang out with people that inspire me. Same goes for you. You inspire me. So, you know, like-minded people got to stick together.
that's it, man. Golly, that means a lot. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. All right, so we'll just kind of get into it now. We'll talk about like the roofing basics that every homeowner should know. So if you had to put your professional opinion on it, because you are the subject matter expert when it comes to roofs, how long do you think a roof should realistically last?
If you're looking at shingles, shingles will last you around 30 years. If you're looking at a builder's grade, a 3-tab, 20 years. If your contractor is considering putting a 3-tab on your roof, maybe consider another contractor, only because the price difference in the bundles is maybe $10 or, it's not that big of a difference to just go ahead and get the better product and 10 years out of the lifetime. So shingles, 30 years. And then if you're looking at metal, I would say 40 to 50.
Yeah, we'll get into it a little bit later. I'll ask your thoughts on what you prefer and stuff like that. So if you're saying 20 to 30 years, that's a large investment. Fortunately, I have never had to replace my own roof, but I have clients that you actually did a deal for that came in and needed a roof. So it's one of those things where you get what you pay for. So is it better to go ahead and put the additional $10 per bundle in and know that you're going to have 10 years of longevity there? It's something that you as viewers really need to kind of sit back and ponder on. Obviously, call the professional, let them give you their advice and recommendations on what to do moving forward. But it's something I think that everybody should consider as you're moving on from there. So, as a real estate agent, we're taught to look for certain things. I've got a little bit of a construction background, so I kind of take my realtor hat off and put my contracting hat on when I'm looking at houses. But what should homeowners, new realtors, what should they look for in a roof if they're going to view a house for the first time? Like, what are some warning signs of, hey, this roof may be on its last leg?
Two things I would say. If it's shiny, if you look up at it and it's super shiny, that means the fiberglass, the matting is exposed. And at that point, it's probably beyond repairable. You can certainly do a few things to help it out, but if it's shiny, you're towards the end of its life. And then the second thing, just a quick reference for realtors or home buyers. If you look up at the roof and you look up at the ridge, and that's where the roof meets that ridge line, you should have a ridge vent. That's kind of the new standard in ventilation, unless you have a cell or a closed foam insulation. Other than that, you should have proper ventilation, being with a ridge vent, and then also drip edge. And if you can identify that your roof has that or not, you can kind of tell how old it is and if it's up to code. So I believe drip edge and ridge vent were made code closer to 2011, 2013. I might be getting those mixed up. Fact check me on that later on.
Yeah, we'll bring him back on, and if you're a roofer, put it in the comments if you know
exactly.
when Georgia code changed. But
exactly. So quick check, ridge vent and drip edge. If it doesn't have either one of those, it's probably an older roof. You might want to get it inspected ASAP. And then secondly is if it's shiny, that means the fiberglass is showing through and it's time to start considering what you're going to do next.
Okay. Well, and you brought up inspections. How often should a roof be inspected on a home?
I would say have it inspected by a trusted contractor once a year. And I personally do a maintenance program. So once a year, I'll come out check your sealant, your silicone, so your exposed nails on your pipe boots and on the ridge vent. Those nails just being exposed to the weather will deteriorate, and it needs to be recaulked. And so I would do that at least once a year. And if your roof is older than 14 years old, it for sure 100% needs to be once, I would say twice a year at that point, just
Okay.
to be safe. So
Preventative maintenance.
preventative
style
maintenance,
stuff,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Is that where you see a lot of your, we'll just use leaks, for example. Do you see a lot of the leaks coming from pipe boots? I mean, do you see it in ridge caps, anything like that?
if they used a nail gun on the ridge cap, it could have broken that plastic, and so um, that's why we hand nail the ridge vent. Or primarily, it's usually a pipe boot where the general area has just been taking in water over a certain amount of time, and we'll have to replace maybe the pipe boots and then that general area, the OSB, and put a proper underlayment down, which is normally, if you're doing a repair, ice and water shield versus that old felt paper that they had back in the day, which a lot of houses still have right now.
Now, if you're doing a replacement, do they, instead of your felt paper, are you going ice and shield over the whole thing, or is that just a repair?
It depends on where you live. In Georgia specifically, we're only required to have it in the transitions in the valleys, and up north they'll use it, Minnesota, where they have ice damming up, they'll use it on the entire thing. But if I'm going to do a repair specifically, just say for someone selling a home, if I'm going to do a repair, I'll do a repair with ice and water shield just to give it that extra membrane, because
Yep.
unless you're putting exact shingle back on there, the warranty will likely be voided once you change the shingle anyways. That ice and water shield is definitely like a double preventative maintenance thing that you can do. It's kind of going above and beyond, where you only need synthetic felt. The ice and water shield over the area that you've repaired is just like double protection.
Okay.
And that ice and water shield is going to bond to that OSB, and then the nails are going to adhere to once you nail through, that membrane is going to adhere to the nail as well.
Okay. Just
I'll geek out if you want me to.
No, hey man, I'm all about it. I'm one of those guys that if there's a day that goes by that I don't learn something, then I have wasted my entire day. You always want to be the dumbest person in the room. So, which normally I am.
I'm in a good spot, man.
I'm still learning. Cool. So inspections one time a year by a trusted contractor, or if your roof is over 14 years old, you would recommend probably doing it twice a year.
Yeah, twice a year. Whenever when you get your gutters cleaned out or something like that, have your contractor check the sealant. Normally it's what we call a reseal. So that's normally what I see. And if the wood's already affected, your roofing contractor should be getting up and doing an attic inspection as well. So
looking for water damage decking.
Looking for the water damage in the decking, so that way you're not just putting a Band-Aid on it, you're putting a temporary repair, but something that's not gonna, it's not gonna be a reoccurring issue every few months, because that's something that you don't want to feel as a homeowner, having water coming in your home. So
yeah, you definitely don't want to be standing in the kitchen and the next thing you know, it's hitting you in the face, you're dripping through.
That's part of the reason why I love it, because it is urgent. It's something that if they need something done, it needs to be done now. So
good deal.
I enjoy it.
So getting into that, just say that your basic storm, rainstorm, maybe it's got high winds. Like, do you think that a roof needs to be inspected after a storm like that, or hail damage? I mean, there's a lot of different snow that stays for X amount of time. Like at what point does a roof need to be inspected? Like, does it have to be inspected after every storm, I guess is what I'm asking.
Most storms in Georgia, I'm going to say no. You'll have the wave of roofers come by and knock on your door constantly, unless you saw the hail and it was over an inch, because I would 3/4 of an inch will do. But if you're looking to get insurance involved, they're not really going to be paying attention to anything below an inch.
Okay.
And Georgia will normally have 1 to 2 of those per year. And so if it's over an inch, for sure. If you notice a few of your neighbors getting their roofs replaced, it might be worthwhile having it inspected. And and other than that, it's just the obvious. If you see a shingle in the yard, then you might know. Yeah, exactly.
So what I picked up from that,
Yes.
if it's hailing, put your bicycle helmet on, go outside, pick some up, measure them. And if your neighbor, which another thing, watch your neighbors. If your neighbors are getting theirs done, call Kyle, get the roof inspected, and let him tell you kind of what's going on.
Exactly. And I'll take care of you too. So
He takes care of people.
I'll take care of you.
All right. So if you could educate a homeowner on like one end all be all thing about roofing, like what would it be? I mean, you can venture out however you want to here, but like what would your top thing be for, hey, every homeowner needs to know this about a roof?
About the roof specifically, labor warranty. Labor warranties are more important than the manufacturer warranty. The limited lifetime is something that's thrown around. Every manufacturer offers a lifetime warranty on the shingle, but you can promise that all day, but if you don't install the right material, if you don't install it according to their specifications, that warranty is not going to hold up no matter what. So if they're requiring 5 to 6 nails per shingle and your crew's,
running
4, then when said manufacturer comes out to inspect it, and if it's not done up to their standard, the warranty is void. So a lot of contractors overpromise and underdeliver on warranties, but the main thing is having a local company and a contractor who's going to come inside, get to know you a little bit, and make it a little bit more personal. That person will normally take care of you.
And I think, once you get into the real estate world, it's the same way. You have to make some kind of a personal connection with the people that you're about to be performing a service for. Go in, pet the dog, eat the cookies that were made 2 days ago.
Sweet tea.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hey,
ma'am.
yes, ma'am, I'll take some.
Yeah.
And at that point, at least for me, I'll start asking questions to those people just to kind of figure out what they're about, where they come from, who they are. If I can't get your wheels turning to get you to start giving me some in-depth answers, I don't feel like I'm ever really going to know you. Like, yes, you can make a ton of money as a roofer. You can make a ton of money as a real estate agent. Like I said, there's no ceiling, but I'm not necessarily doing it for the money. I'm doing it because I like the feeling that I get when I complete a service, job, contract, whatever, and seeing the smile on their face like, man, we did it, That's the most rewarding thing for me.
It's an overflowing cup. More than a transaction, and it's a forever. It's like this client, regardless of if you're selling real estate forever, if I'm selling roofs forever, I want this person to feel comfortable enough with me to call me 5-10 years down the road, and even if I'm not doing it, I'll still help them out. It's that deep to me, and it's cheesy, corny, but truly, I mean, we're just people helping people.
Well, and it, for me, like in the Army, it was basic soldiering. If you take care of your soldiers, they'll take care of you. And it goes with a crew, it goes with your clients. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, for real estate agents, referrals are 50% of the business, So if I do a good job for Kyle and then his cousin wants to buy a house, well, if Kyle says, hey, this was my realtor and he did a great job, well, then that's, I guess, free marketing for me, because word of mouth, I feel like, is the best marketing that you can have. You bring your cousin on, and then that just trickles. And it's probably the same thing for you. Hey, I've got a great roofer. He does an awesome job. Give him a call. You go provide a great service, and next thing you know, they're telling their family members and they're telling their friends at the local YMCA. Next thing you know, your business is booming, and it's all from word of mouth stuff.
The beautiful thing about oversaturated businesses like real estate and roofing, very oversaturated, but it's so easy to stand out.
Yep.
Just going the extra mile. So, I mean,
I think taking pride in your work is what sets you apart.
Yeah.
Not you, but just people in general. It's what sets people apart
Right.
from the riffraff that floods the market.
Exactly.
Every guy with a green drill, can be a contractor, but have the personal conversation, make the connection, ask the questions. You guys as viewers ask the questions that kind of check the credentials of the real estate agent or the roofer or the builder or whomever it is that you're trying to have a transaction with. But if you can ask the right questions, then at that point you're starting to kind of feel out what they're about, and I think that is what makes the transaction good. So we'll kind of tinker into roofing and real estate transactions. So do you think that it is possible? Now, I know the answer to this, but do you think that it's possible for a roof to either delay a deal or to blow a deal up, just completely kill it?
Yes, because insurance has gotten tougher over the last few years. They're starting to not extend coverage if the roof is over a certain age. So as a roofer, I'm enjoying it because that means I'm not having to fight the insurance company. I'm certainly willing to, and I enjoy that challenge. I enjoy saving you money. But when retail is 10 times better, you don't have to fight the insurance company. You need a great roof system that's going to last, and you need it installed quickly, which is what we did for Mr. Joe. So, those are the ideal situations, and it's unfortunate, but sometimes it's, insurance is not an option, and the roof is a big part of a real estate transaction. I feel like, it's one of the first things to get flagged.
Yeah.
So, and I take pride of helping you guys do that quickly too. So,
And you do a great job, and
thank you.
Next week, we're going to have an insurance agent actually come on, Curtis Caldwell. He's with Brightway, super knowledgeable, been doing it for a while. And caveating kind of off of what you said, as an agent, we're taught that if that roof is over 10 years old, that it's going to be real hard for insurance to insure that property. They may can insure the rest of it, but your premium is going to be higher because they're not insuring the roof, or because it's at the end of its lifespan, or it's got repairs or damage or whatever else. Obviously, I'm not an insurance guy, so I'm going to let Curtis kind of explain that next week.
Right.
So tune back in for that, if you've got some questions about homeowners insurance. But, I think that this kind of goes back to let the people that know what they're doing give you the info that you need. So I don't know my butt from a hole in the ground when it comes to roofing, but I will call you and say, hey, can you take a look at this for me? Like that house in Chatsworth. Can you look at this? And what's the problem here? And I thought I had a good idea, but I was completely wrong. So now we're going to be doing a repair soon to get that thing rolling. Anyway, sidebar over.
In the roofing business, I didn't mean to cut you off. In the roofing business, we call that staying in our sandbox, whereas the roofing contractor is the expert. And a lot of contractors have spoiled people by, saying, hey, I'm going to do all of the insurance work for you. And that has been a strategy that can help. It's helped. It's even helped me. I did a lot of that legwork in the beginning, but with how the insurance game is changing, the responsibility is falling more so on the homeowner. And so my sandbox is repairability. Is this repairable? Is it going to void a warranty? That's my sandbox. The adjuster, his sandbox is speaking policy. Same thing with the agent is going to help you with that policy. So, staying in your sandbox is something that we practice in roofing as well. So
let's say my most recent listing, should they have a roof inspection done prior to listing the property, just so that they can already have that, like, hey, here's the report for the roof. It's this many years old. This is what the contractor found. Do you think that that's a good idea for a seller to do?
I think so. I think it's good to have a home inspector look at it and a roofer look at it, because they might be looking at different things. And whereas the home inspector can maybe point out just the condition of the shingle, my eye is trained more to see, is there storm damage here? Is there a possibility for us to increase the value of the home and save you money out of pocket if it's, if it was within a storm path within the year? Sometimes real estate deals, they move fast, so you don't have time for that. But there's been certain scenarios where they're like, hey, we're going to take this to market. 6 months. Can you come check it out and make sure the roof is in good condition? I checked it out. I looked at the area. Turns out there was a huge storm, and we were able to get a brand new roof put on that thing based off of wind and hail within 3 months, and that only costs the homeowner out of pocket, deductible, just the deductible. So it's always good to do that, but you don't always, depending on the transaction, sometimes you have time, sometimes you don't.
Okay. What do you think that we'll go on the flip side here? What do you think that a buyer should look for? I know we touched on this a little bit before. Age of the roof, obviously, that's the agent's job to try and figure out. Look for a vent in the ridge. Look for drip edge to be under the shingle to keep that water from flowing back.
Right.
But are we sticking with shiny shingles? Hey, this thing's probably at the end of its life. Looking at the downspout, how much asphalt's coming out of the gutters? Do you think that is something a buyer should kind of look for?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, look at that, and also request and see if the roof was done within a certain amount of time. Request the documentation, because it should have a labor warranty as well. So, I've gone out to properties where they're a $3,500 repair um, was actually covered under a uh, roof warranty that they didn't even think about. I'm like, hey, before I go through with this repair, this
Give
roof,
me your roof documents so
let
that
me
we
see
can look
who
at.
installed this roof, because it looks fairly new, and reach out to that roofing company, because you should still be under warranty. So they were able to do that, and they saved the money out of pocket that way.
So when you say labor warranty for the
Right.
viewers, like what does an average labor warranty look like? I mean, is it the lifetime of the shingle, or if somebody said, "Hey, I got a 20-year labor warranty," what do you do?
I would be suspicious because it sounds great and people are like, yes, I'm going to lock into that. But if he's not in business in 5 to 10 years, you're kind of screwed at that point. And if they didn't do the roof up to the manufacturer's specifications, then you don't have a warranty at all. So I think what's fair and what's average is 5 to 10 years on the labor warranty, and the lifetime manufacturer warranty is something that everyone offers. Now, you can get into, are you a master elite certifier with GAF? Are you a master shingle applicator with Certainteed? Those things will make a difference on the warranty that you can provide, but a labor warranty should be, on average, is usually around 5 to 10 years.
So if somebody's over-promising and underproducing, you probably need to check the street cred, as we'll call it.
Right.
Okay. So you touched a little bit on like insurance and deductibles and stuff like that. So when do you think the right time for a homeowner to file an insurance claim would be? I know you said looking at the neighbors. Is that probably the right time to do it?
That is the right time to do it. If you notice a storm and you take like you mentioned earlier, you take photos of it. Literally, I mean this literally. If it's a significant enough storm and you got hail falling, go grab a few, stick them in your freezer, measure them, and then have it looked at. And then I would say have it looked at by two different companies. If you're really skeptical, have two different people look at it and then go with the one that you trust. Whenever you see other people starting to get roofs replaced, and or if you saw hail fall, I mean, that's enough.
So if you can pull that inch and a half piece of hail out of your ice maker, you're probably good. Or 9 times out of 10, if 5 of the people across the street in your neighborhood are getting their roofs replaced, they probably all didn't hit the lottery. So it's probably an insurance claim, which then at that point, you as the contractor, you've got a little bit more leverage because others are getting done, correct?
Yeah. To an extent, storms can be directional, and insurance will use that, because there have been hailstorms that destroyed one side of the neighborhood and the other side of the neighborhood
Perfectly fine.
So I can't say in all circumstances, but for the most part, it's worth having it looked at. And honestly, with modern technology, I would have someone who physically gets up there, but also someone who can show you video and
Like drone footage.
And if you're at home, go out there and watch them do your inspection, because you don't know who these people are.
Mhm.
So I would say, yeah, just make sure you're getting something tangible, videos, photos, and or I've had people go stand out in the yard and just watch me circle things, and that's totally fine. I enjoy when they do that because it builds more trust. And so a lot of things you can't see from the ground. Most things you can't see from the
Well, and
ground.
that's one thing that I like about your socials, and I'm gonna put your handle right here so that you can give him a follow. On your social media, you do a lot of videos where you're actually on the roof, and you don't really see that a lot anymore. A lot of people are depending on strictly electronic stuff, or
Mhm.
they'll do a satellite image or whatever it
Mhm.
is that they do. So the fact that you are what I have always called boots on ground, like you
Mhm.
are standing right here
Mhm.
with some chalk circling issues on the roof
Mhm.
so that when they come out and if they do decide to file a claim and that
Right.
adjuster comes,
Right.
you're there with him, right?
Right. I'm there with him, and I'm there to make his job easier. Never abrasive. I'm not the abrasive contractor. Some guys take a lot of pride into butting heads with
There
the
was a video it popped up of this
yes,
dude was just arguing with this adjuster bad.
that guy he's probably the GOAT. Raymond is a G in the roofing space. And I would save that for it came down. I believe that was a re-inspection. So that's probably the second or third time.
Yep.
The first inspection, I'm normally very lax. I know what happened. I've pulled a storm report. I know the direction that it came from. I've built a story based on the facts that we have.
You've got a case.
I've got a case. And I've also educated the homeowner at this point of what that is as well. So I'm more so there to paint the picture of what happened and to let him do his job. Dale Carnegie says, if you want honey, don't kick the beehive. And it's true. So I'm never abrasive. I'm there to make their lives easier. And a lot of times, if I have a report, if I've pulled the satellite measurements, I'll just go ahead and send that to him as well, make their job that much easier.
Absolutely. I mean, and it's the same way, in the real estate world. If people are sending you a lot of houses, you have done your initial consultation, you've seen what they're looking for, their criteria.
Mhm.
Well, if they're sending you a bunch of off the wall stuff, you can go ahead and pretty much weed that out. And
Yeah.
then if you can back them with proof, say, hey, when we first met, this is what you wanted. Has that criteria changed?
Mhm.
Well, no, it hasn't. Okay, so these 4 houses that you sent me out of the 12 are
Mhm.
not going to work. Here's documentation on these 7. The rest of them, I'm in touch with the agent. So if you
Mhm.
can do the legwork, which it sounds like,
Mhm.
you guys do that in the roofing community as well.
Mhm.
If you can do that legwork up front, not only does it build trust with your clients, but it also makes the other people throughout the transaction's job easier for you,
Right.
the adjuster, the install crew, whomever.
Right.
So I think that's I'm like you. I'm a people pleaser,
Right.
and my wife hates it. I love you, baby. I will go out of my way to just talk. I was the class clown in school. Like I would go out of my way to talk to people, and if I see you at the grocery store and you're wearing a name tag, I'm gonna call you by your name. And they're
Yes.
like, how do you know my name? Well, it's on your shirt. I know how to read. I might have went to a Hall County public school, but I did learn how to read.
God, my God. That's it's just having a heart, man. You can't teach EQ.
That's a fact. You and the one-liners, man, killing me. All right. What do you think that homeowners need to document damage? Like I know that we've said go out and actually grab it. Are videos, taking pictures, saving that stuff to some kind of cloud or wherever so that when it does come time to file that claim and they have some like tangible proof, hey, here's
Mhm.
this one piece of hail that I grabbed and no, I didn't make
Mhm.
this. Here's a video, here's a
Mhm.
timestamp, here's all this stuff. Does that actually help you guys in the process of doing the claim work?
I believe that helps us the most. That is a lot of homeowners have been they've been spoiled because, like I said, and before, I could do a lot. I could get a lot further just having conversations between the adjuster and I. But with things tightening up like they have been, they can legally ignore what I say. They are legally obligated to respond to you within a certain amount of time as well.
Yep.
So Whereas I can do so much, you have a lot more power, and it's your job to prove your loss. I can make it easier for you to prove and make, hand everything up like to you in a nice report, but ultimately they're not going to care until you start to care. You might get a grand slam and you might just have an adjuster that takes care of you off the bat, but those are few and far between nowadays. They're really relying on you to prove your case. So
you're there just to help collect evidence at that point.
Collect evidence and to determine on if this repair is possible. Okay, you prescribed me to go fix 13 shakes on the cedar shake roof. Okay, let me go do 2 or 3 just to make sure that this repair is even possible and that it's not going to cause further damage and further issues. So my job is to determine on if it's repairable or not, and I can guide you and get you to the finish line and ultimately get that touchdown if you're willing to stick in there with me.
Yep.
Most of the time, if I do file a claim, if I advise someone to go ahead and go through with it, it's because it have a 90% chance, in my mind, that it's possible.
I was going to ask, you think your success rate is that high, like with claims? You're not just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks,
I'm not hungry. I'm looking for those clients that are going to work with me, go at bat with me, and also refer me to their friends and family. And so that's the name of the game.
Absolutely. Okay. Last one before we kind of move on to a different little portion here. What mistakes do you think homeowners make in the claims process? Is it divulging too much, not saying enough, not letting you do your job? Like where do the viewers, when they buy a house and they have to file a claim, or maybe they're selling, what do they do? What mistakes are made in that process from either side that will mess with the claims process?
Giving too much information to the adjuster. Never lie to them, but also do know that you're being recorded. And if it's going to come down to saving, Big Red or Big Blue, if it's going to save them $30,000, they will use your words against you. So be very specific. Only give the facts. Hey, I know that this storm happened on this day, this time. I saw it happen. Here's my video proof. Here's my photo evidence. And that's what I'm calling you guys to come out and take a look. You don't have to give too much more information because it can be used against you. I would say that. And
so be vague, but be direct
okay.
with the vagueness, I guess, is what you're saying. So
right. You stand on, if an event happened, it happened. And if it was significant enough to file a claim, of a 1-inch hailstorm, this is what happened. Come take a look at it, and here's my evidence that supports it. When they might ask you the age of the roof, and if you know, tell them. If you don't know, just say you don't know. Yeah. So, because that could also be used against you if you got a 15-year-old roof and it's at that halfway point. That could be an entryway for the insurance to say, well, that's more just the wear and tear. That's more of the lifetime of the roof.
Well, that's when you walk inside and open up the freezer and grab that. And I said, I'll show you wear and tear, buddy.
Exactly.
Look at this.
100%.
So, all right, cool. So what we'll do, I guess we'll get into like advice, myths, like things that you may have seen or have learned once you kind of got into that real estate business. So this next little segment is called rapid fire, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a couple quick questions. You're just going to give me the first thing that comes to mind. It doesn't have to be some elaborate, like in neon kind of answer, just first thing that comes to mind.
I like those.
Yeah, me and you both. All right. So first question, what is the biggest roofing myth that you have heard or that you hear on the regular?
20-year labor warranties.
Don't happen.
They're over promising. It's snake oil to me. Yes. It's over promising.
So key here, under promise, over produce. That's the name of the game, especially once you're in the sales industry. Mm-hmm. Hey, yeah, I think I can make that happen, but we're just going to have to see. You may know that you can make it happen, but you want to you want to feel like a rock star,
Right.
when you get done. And that way they feel like they got a great service as well. And that's not some kind of smoke and mirrors, just blowing smoke up everybody's butt deal. We want to make sure that we can provide the best service that we can. I'm speaking for both of us here. So if I'm ever stepping out, obviously cut me out.
No.
But I feel like we are always trying to keep our clients in the forefront of our mind. Like, are we providing the best service possible for our clients? Are we saving them as much money as we possibly can? Is this a good deal? Is what's about to happen or what is going to happen in this transaction, is that good for the clients? Take my commission, take your cut out of your roof stuff, take that out of the game completely. I want to make sure that people are taken care of.
Right.
And I feel like you're the same exact way.
Yeah, I mean, you plant good seeds. So I've even upgraded people to a 40-year, and it's maybe $1,000 out of $1,500 on the upgrade, and I've given that to people if we had enough, say, profitability. I've upgraded people because I wanted to, because I felt like I wanted to. For instance, there's a gated community in Gainesville close to the lake, and I'm pretty much doing their entrance at cost because I basically went to Riverside Roofing and said, hey, look, I don't care what I make on this project, but I want to make sure that it stands out, and I want to continue to do business because I've on a roll. I've got about 12 houses that I'm working on. And so, that's a small seed that I can plant. Forget my commission on this. Let's take care of the community. Let's do something nice and designer for the entrance, and forget my commission. I want to take care of you.
Well, and then at that point, people that are driving in and out of there, they're like, dang, man, that looks good.
Exactly.
Who did that?
Exactly.
NKP, baby.
NKP, we've already got the ball rolling. We did 2 pickleball paddle raffles in there, and it's taken off, man. So I've been blessed.
Okay, good deal. All right, next question. Is patching a roof for a repair, is that a long-term solution? Okay. Asphalt roof, metal roof, which one? What are your thoughts on why?
Metal is sexier, and metal.
They are dang sexy.
And metal, where I said 30 years on shingle, metal, you should get at least 50. And the metal, the only caveat, you need to get it re-screwed. If it's seamless, maybe not, but there's a little bit of maintenance with metal, but I think it's worth it in the long run. And
it sounds real good in the rain too.
It does.
I mean, there is nothing more beautiful, other than our significant others, than a standing seam roof. You just look up at that thing and you're like, that is majestic. It is beautiful. Just say you went tough rib or just your standard metal roofing, yes, you'll have to go in and there's maintenance that goes along with it, but there's going to be maintenance with anything. Hot water heater goes out because you don't drain it every year, or air conditioner quits because you didn't change the filter. So if you can do the small preventative maintenance things to extend the lifespan or the longevity of the product, at that point, I'll pay some extra money for it to look good. You know what I mean?
Hey, pay good, you look good. You look good, you play good.
That's it.
Hey,
What is it? Look good, feel good?
look good.
I think that's the old one.
Play good.
It's all a game. Life's a game. Life's a dance. You learn as you go.
I'm an all right dancer. I still got the same moves from
That we did in 8th grade.
8th grade dance, but if they ain't broke, don't fix it. I can still snake your leg if I need to. Anyways, we'll keep it rolling after that.
All right, well, we'll get into closing her down. So just a quick little recap, kind of what we talked about. So we talked about the insurance claim process, kind of how that works. We talked about repairs. We talked about what first-time home buyers, sellers, agents, whomever should look for in a roof if they're looking to buy or sell a home. We went back in and touched on kind of how the whole roofing process works, right? I'd love to get you back on what you guys need to look forward to is when it warms up here and it's not 17 degrees, we're actually going to be putting the boat in the water and we're going to trade this view for Lake Lanier. We're going to anchor down in a cove. We're going to hook the mics up and we're going to kind of stream out there. We're going to get Kyle back out and kind of touch on a few different things that we didn't get to today. If you guys know of anything in specifics that you're wanting to learn, put it in the comments. I'll reach out to Kyle. We'll get even if it's a remote podcast, we'll jump on, we'll cover some of the questions, because that's why we're here. We're here to help. So what is your ideal client? What do they look like?
A property manager for.
Shout out property management guys. Give him a call.
Give me a call, especially if you have lots of, whether it be quick repairs that you need on a property or, full replacements on full apartment buildings. We do both commercial and residential. So property managers, those bigger projects are kind of at this point what gets me excited, what keeps me going. But other than that, I really enjoy designer shingles. I really enjoy synthetic shake. I just recently did a synthetic shake off of Lake Lanier, Copper Valleys. Beautiful, beautiful roof. And those specialty crews are few and far between. So it's hard to get a hold of a specialty crew that can really install that product and you be confident with it. So ideal client would be, designer shingles, or a property manager with, a good amount of properties that just need someone who can maintain them or replace them.
Okay. Yeah, you brought up copper. So I'm gonna shout out Bell Handyman out of Dahlonega. Greg Bell, Matt Wood. I was helping them the other day, and they're metal roofers and gutter guys, right? So any kind of metal work that you're wanting done on the house, they can do it on the spot, bring a break, whatever. But we were hanging some copper gutters, and I had seen them in pictures, but I had never actually been to a house that had copper gutters.
Right.
So I'm looking, I was like, dang, well, in a year, they're going to, whatever that
Patina.
Yeah, Latina. They're going to put Latina on there, and they'll kind of turn greenish, right? But, I mean, this house was wild. Copper valleys, copper gutters, copper drip edge, copper metal bent over all of the doors and the windows. I mean, like, this is a fat crib, like,
you get me
10,000 square foot kind of fat,
juiced up right now,
and a beautiful house. I can't wait to see it finished. But that was just a quick little shout out for Bell Handyman, Greg Bell, Matt Wood. I hope y'all are doing well. Okay, so we talked about your ideal customer. So what would be the best means of communication, or the best way to reach you? Is it call, text, carrier pigeon? Like, where are we at?
I do prefer carrier pigeon. I'm old school like that. But if you can't find one, you can reach me at 678-316-3980. Phone call. You can shoot me a text, and my email is kyle@riversideroofingga.com.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put his business card on the screen. So we're obviously going to be sitting here talking behind it, and it's going to be up right now. So call the numbers that you've got on the screen here, or send him an email. He's super quick to respond. Very good dude, very genuine dude. So that's how to reach you. All right, last question before we hop off. Final advice for homeowners. All things roofing. What you got?
Final advice would be to take your contractor, how they treat you, how they treat your family, how they treat your dog, your cat. Look into how they live their life. I try to share a lot of my lifestyle along with roofing, because I want people to see that,
you're a human being.
I'm a human being and not a robot. And, I have certain interests. I love the sauna. I try to, so look for someone who is taking the time to invest into you and get to know you a little bit, because that person will make sure you're taken care of. A lot of stuff is done through DocuSign these days, and it's kind of cold. But if you can find a contractor who take a swig of that sweet tea and have a conversation with you, above all else, I think you've got a good person. And if you don't have that guy right now, you're looking at him. So, yeah,
you heard it here first.
Hey, holla at your boy.
What was the roofing quote?
Well, if you want the roofer who goes the extra mile, just call Kyle, baby.
Call Kyle.
That's
all
it.
right. So that wraps it up for today's show. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Once again, Kyle Perry, Riverside Roofing. And, next couple shows we've got coming up, we're bringing on an insurance broker so that they can talk about the homeowner's insurance process. We're going to be bringing on a lender, very good friend of mine, Ben King from Premier Mortgage. He's going to break down the process for each loan type, how things work, what the process looks like, because there's a lot of stress and there's a lot of fear that goes into buying a house. So the reason why we are here and the reason why everybody else that comes on this show will be here is to make this as enjoyable as it should be and as stress-free as we can, because you don't want to take any of the joy out of buying a house. Like, that's the most expensive purchase most people will ever make. So it's got big things coming. So thank you again for hanging out with us. Next time you see, well, I don't know about next time. We're going to have him on again. But the time after that, when you see him, we'll probably be sitting on the back of the boat. I'll have a Miller Lite in my hand. I don't know your flavor, but we'll figure it out.
From Gainesville, man. I might have me a natty. Might have me a natty daddy, baby.
Born and bred by God.
All right, y'all.
All right, guys. Have a great day. Thanks.
See you.